Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in this video we are going to talk about the Samsung S24 phone. I've been using this phone as my daily driver for at least 30 days now, and I just made the jump from S21 FE to this Samsung S24. So going from a fan edition phone to an actual flagship, this has been a huge roller coaster ride for me. To be honest, I don't really feel any change. So let's discuss in detail in this video. First thing first, the design. The design is very sleek, very minimal, and I am pretty sure you have already seen the design. It looks okay, but for me, what I particularly feel is that I've almost paid £1,000 for this phone, and the design does not scream that amount. The whatever money I've paid, I don't think the design justifies it because the Samsung A series has very similar design. So if I'm carrying this phone in public, nobody knows that if it's a flagship phone or is it a budget phone. So that is something that I personally am not a fan of. I would have loved something unique, something different. But don't get me wrong, it is still a really good phone. It has really good design. The screen is absolutely beautiful. The build quality is amazing. It's a premium phone and you can see why it is as soon as you hold this. I personally feel like the plastic or the vegan leather finishes are much more better. They look more premium because they don't attract a lot of fingerprints or you don't have to clean them every now and then. I myself am a person who does not use a cover with the phone. So this phone catches a lot of fingerprints. I have a lot of trouble with this one. While my S21 Ultra, I barely ever clean this. I just wipe it here and there now and then, but I never had to clean it. But this phone, I keep cleaning this every single day. You can already see there are so many fingerprints already just while I'm shooting this YouTube video. That is something I don't, that's my personal opinion. The masses or the people usually go for the metal or glass finishes. That's what people assume to be premium. But I personally feel like plastic or vegan leather would have been much better. And the other thing that's about this phone is people say this is a small phone, but I don't know why. Well, yes, compared to the S24 Ultra or the other S22, S24 Plus, this definitely might seem like a small phone, but this size or this form factor is definitely not a small phone. This is the perfect size, or I would actually say this is a pretty big phone. You can't use this one-handed completely because your thumb won't travel the entire screen distance. So this is in no way a small phone. But if you are moving from a bigger form factor or if you use a slightly larger phone, initially for the first 2 days, it might feel like it's very small, but later on you'll get used to it and it is definitely not a small phone. The next question is about the OS or the user friendliness of the phone. Well, I am definitely not the right person to ask this because as you can see here, immediately after getting the phone, I jumped to Niagara Launcher and I changed everything up. So I am a very customization kind of guy. I'd like to keep my phone very different from others. I try to customize the hell out of it. So I definitely don't have enough experience with the Samsung OS to talk about it. But Samsung's customization on the other hand, that's next level. You cannot get it on Apple or any other things. The Good Lock app, all the other apps that Samsung gives you to just be able to customize each and everything in the phone is what to die for. That's the reason I've stayed with Samsung for so long and I don't really see a reason to switch. And that's the reason I've not tried a Apple phone yet. Even though I got one last year, it did not stay for long. I just don't like to use the stock things and I want the things customized. I want launchers, I want swipe gestures and all those things. And Samsung definitely makes it possible. Performance, on the other hand, is definitely out of this world. It's the flagship phone and it performs like a flagship phone. In my last 30 days of using this phone, I have never once experienced lag. I have never once experienced any jitter or anything. The phone performs like butter and every single action it's just perfect. So there is nothing to complain about this phone. I've used the S21 FE for so long and I never felt a need to upgrade. And even now, the only reason I got this phone is because the batteries on my S21 FE were not uh, up to the mark. They were not lasting me for long. and also the charging port has slight problems and it's not charging very well. That's the reason in the UK here right now, to get it repaired is way costlier. So I just didn't want to go through all that hassle and I got a new phone. Otherwise, I would have never upgraded from this phone. So you can see that I am not the type of person who wants a lot of performance from a phone. But even then, even when I try to limit test this, I try to play games. I've played PUBG, I've played Call of Duty, I've played Wild Rift non-stop on this. So it has held up really good. It has never lagged. It has not caused any problem till now. This is the Exynos version of the phone, and there is the Snapdragon version. People say Snapdragon is better than the Exynos and it lasts longer. And this phone being the Exynos one is a limitation, and a lot of people don't want to go to this phone just because it's Exynos. And I don't know. I have not used both of them side by side to compare it, even though the internet says so. I just don't know. I don't know what to suggest you guys, because for me, the Exynos performs just as well as the Snapdragon does, because I've never used a Snapdragon. Exynos does everything I need and beyond. So for me, this performance is still worth the money. How good is this with games? Well, I've played so much Wild Rift on this phone and it has never given up on me. I've played PUBG, I've played Call of Duty, and it has always kept on going. The only reason I had to stop playing was to charge it. Well, I'll come back to that later. Other than that, there is nothing that did stop me. I had no issues. The device did heat up a little. It got slightly warm, and I've never experienced such a thing with S21 FE. Maybe because it's plastic and it never conducted heat that well. But this phone does tend to get a little warm. But I did not see any frame drops. I did not see any performance issues. So I think it's just heat is being dissipated well here. I don't know. It does get a little warm. That's the only thing I've noticed. Other than that, it performs really well. The battery, on the other hand, the only reason I changed from this to this, as I already told you, is because of the battery. And I don't know if I'm happy with the battery. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad battery. It will easily last you an entire day. But I don't know what I was expecting when I paid £1,000. I expected something a little more. I just feel like it's a little lagging in battery. I would have loved if it was just 10 or 15% better. I feel like I'm a heavy user. I use my phone all day, every day. I have at least 7 hours of screen time, and it does not cut it for me, because when I come back home after my entire day, I have to plug this in, and I would love a phone that still has 20 or 25% left when I come back home. I don't know if I'm right, but I feel so. When I've used this for in my long term, I feel like the battery is not a flagship level. The best part about this phone are its cameras. The photos are perfect. I love them. I've been using this camera for quite some time now, and I've always loved Samsung colors. I was a little biased always, and now I think I'm way more addicted to it. The photos are crisp, the clear. 9 out of 10 times I get the shot. They are very good. Even the zoom lens, the ultra wide camera, everything works perfect as you expect. And I personally feel like this camera works better than the iPhone 15 Pro. And I don't know, there is a detailed video where I'm comparing this with the iPhone 15 Pro coming in like 2 or 3 days. So you can wait and watch that. But I personally feel like this camera is better than the iPhone 15 Pro. The AI editors, the object removing and all those AI stuff, they are also pretty good. They work well. I would still prefer to edit my photos myself. So I'm not really a fan of those things, but for a quick changes, for something very quick and stuff, it is really good. You can still use this. Before I got this phone, I was thinking of getting a Sony ZV-E10 to shoot my YouTube videos, but I feel like I'm confident enough that I can use this phone as my YouTube main camera, and it will definitely do the job without any problem. So in conclusion, should you buy this phone? Is this phone worth paying so much for? Well, I don't know. See, the problem with this phone is that it's good. As if you just show me this phone and you tell me, is this a good phone and should I buy this? It's definitely a good phone. But to buy this, it's also very expensive. It's around 800 pounds if I'm not wrong. And for that kind of money, this phone does not look premium, or nobody knows that you paid 800 pounds for this phone. That is something that puts me off personally, because I I would like for people to know that I use a flagship phone, and this phone definitely does not do that. So that is kind of a bummer for me. If that's not, it's okay. And also, if you are not a heavy user, if you do not play a lot of games, even if you are a heavy user, if you do not play a lot of games, and the next level chipset and all those things are not really that big of a deal to you, if you are an average consumer, if you are anyone average, I would still recommend going for the fan edition. I went for the fan edition 4 years ago, 4 or 3 years ago, and I have never regretted it. These fan edition phones perform just as good as their alternatives for a less price. So if you're someone who has the cash and you want to buy, if you're someone who is not an extreme user, you don't want everything out of this world, then you can buy the fan edition 4. And also, if you're someone who is buying the phone for cash directly, I would highly recommend you buy this fan edition phone. Well, if you're not that, if you're someone who is buying for EMI, or if you're buying in those monthly payment schemes and stuff, I recommend you go for the S24 or the flagship series. I would say do not go for the fan edition. Or you can also go for the S24 Ultra, because it's only very minute difference, and these phones will definitely give you a better price when you're in the future, when you want to upgrade and want to sell these phones. So that's it for this video. That was my quick non-technical guide. It's not guide, opinion about the Samsung S24, and that's my experience with it for the last 30 days. For more detailed videos, I will try to make some, and there is a video that is coming up that is about the iPhone 15 Pro versus the S24's camera. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.